Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another edition of Much Abrew About Nothing. And if you didn't figure it out from that amazing intro, we are playing Hammer Time but with a twist. This is Pioneer Hammer Time, so one of my all-time favorite archetypes, but in a brand new format where it actually takes a little bit of work to make Hammer Time into a powerful equipment because we don't have like Stoneforge Mystic, we don't have Pure Steel Paladin, so we gotta do some semi-janky things to get our hammer on a creature, but the reward is high. We can still be attacking with a 10, 11, whatever huge creature as soon as turn 2 with this deck. So here's the plan. Our goal is to get Colossus Hammer on a creature without paying its 8 mana equip cost. That's just way too much. So we have Colossus Hammers. We also have Fighter Class, our Pioneer Stoneforge Mystic to tutor it up. Can also grab a Shadow Sphere if we need evasion or life. Lion Sash can grab a creature, which is good graveyard hate as well. So that's step 1. Find the Colossus Hammer. Then for equipping it for free, we do have Sigarda's Aid. You know that one from the modern deck, just lets us flash in equipment and puts it on something. Then we have Resolute Strike in Nahiri, Heir of Ancients, which is a little bit different. Resolute Strike, really good, but it only works if we have a warrior, which is a little awkward because some of our creatures are warriors, some of them are not. So it can be a little bit inconsistent. Nahiri, a little expensive, but it makes a token and can equip something to it. So not only does it give us a way to equip, but it gives us a creature to equip it to. So those are our hammer equipping plans. As far as our creatures, probably our two most important are Fireblade Charger and Season Hollowblade, because they're actually warriors. So those are creatures that actually do work with Resolute Strike. Then we have Fervent Champion, which can maybe let us equip a Colossus Hammer fairly because of its discount. Adanto Vanguard, if we have Sigarda's Aid, very good because it becomes indestructible, protects itself from removal. So a good hammer target, but a little tricky to get the hammer on. But really, if we can get a hammer on any of these creatures, we should be able to kill our opponent in just a couple of attacks. We also got God's Willing, protects our creatures from removal, also lets us force hammer attacks through blockers, depending on our opponent's board state, but hopefully it can let us get through some damage. Mana base wise, a bunch of dual lands, Mutavault, technically a warrior and a creature land, although colorless can be a little bit annoying. In the sideboard, we got mostly a ton of combo hate. Deafening Silence, Alpine Moon, good against a Lotus Field style combo decks, Containment Priest, good against Reanimator, good against Winota, Rest in Peace for graveyard decks, Shadow Sphere for life gain against aggro, more God's Willings for protection, and that is Pioneer Hammer Time. That's our Bunch of Brew deck for this week. So let's jump into a Pioneer League and see if Hammer Time can actually work in the Pioneer format. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll be back in a bit with the wrap up. Today's video is brought to you by Card Kingdom. You can pick up all the Magic the Gathering cards you need and support the show and even get a free MTG Goldfish sticker by heading over to cardkingdom.com/MTG Goldfish. Much Brew About Nothing time. We are hammering in Pioneer this week, seeing if Hammer Time can actually work in the format. And, well, this we're keeping. We will put a Sigarda's Aid to the bottom. Please don't Thoughtseize us. We'll see. Opponent. Land or Elves. Inspiring Vantage. And Sigarda's Aid. Go. So they're playing mono green. Wolfwillow Haven. Getting the ramp on. Llanowar Elves, well, Mutavault, and Adanto Vanguard. So we're going to need some sort of evasion. We need the Shadow Sphere. We need the Shadow Sphere, I think. Or a God's Willing. God's Willing would get it done. Because we can double hammer, so we have lethal, but how do we get through the blockers? Kiora, sure. So much mana. So much mana. Oh, all right, even more mana. Opponent, nick those for 4, can untap with Kiora. I mean, I guess there's a chance that our opponent doesn't block. They draw some cards. They should have untapped first, right? All right, well, let's see. Let's see if our opponent risks it. Oh, we're so close to being able to do it with Mutavault. Go to combat, attack you. Opponent blocks. Well, we will hammer you. Kill the Old Growth Troll. Would have been sweet if we could have Lion Sashed it, but... Alright, opponent gets it back. Even more mana. Sacred Foundry, untapped. Lion Sash, no. We would rather have it be a creature. Alright, pass the turn. Alright, opponent, how bad is it? Yeah, opponent has absurd mana at the moment. Like, just over the top absurd mana. Do they have anything to do with it's the question. And can we find a way to get this through the blockers? Opponent, land, 2 cards in hand. Passes. Okay, apparently nothing to do with it. Oh, there's the God's Willing. Okay, that should be lethal, right? That's green. Everything's green. God's willing? On green? Fervent Champion doesn't really matter. I guess we go bottom. Hammer part 2. And we did it. Fighter hammer time. Taking out Mono Green Devotion. Ha! There we go. There we go. Okay. So the God's Willing came in clutch there to get through those blockers. Shadow Sphere does seem really helpful. Otherwise, our sideboard doesn't really do... Is it worth naming Nykthos? This is Lotus Field Tech, but it could name Nykthos. That would be legal. I don't know if it's worth it, though. Do we want a card that doesn't really... It doesn't keep our opponent from winning. It might make them a little bit less explosive, but it's a card that doesn't support our combo, so it's not directly helping us win the game. All right, let's just try it like that. Not bringing in the Alpine Moons. I mean, that went well. That was, what, turn 4? Had to wait to get the protection to force it through, but it worked. What are you up to, Mono Green Devotion? Would be really cool if we had a Hammer Time deck in Pioneer. All right, I mean, this kind of works. We need another colored mana for this fighter class, but Charger, way to equip, way to find a hammer. As long as we draw another colored source of mana, we're kind of in business. Opponent doing some mulliganing. Forest and Oath of Nissa. Pretty good with Nykthos. Just kind of a free mana symbol, more or less. Cavalier of Thorns. All right, more resolution strikes. We don't really especially need that at the moment. What we need is white mana or red mana. Opponent, Forest, and getting the Ramban, Wolf, Willow, Haven. Wow, we even got the Shadow Sphere. Well, Season Hollowblade. Hit you for 1. Oh, come on, deck. Come on, deck. We need the mana for the hammer. Please, please, please. Opponent, Oath of Nissa number 2 goes digging. What? Nykthos. All right, well, that's future mana. Lots of future mana. Fervent Champion, Shadow Sphere, equip it for free, hit ya, down to 13 past the turn. We know the Cavalier of Thorns is coming, and that is a big body. Nykthos, Cavalier. Oh, we're like so close. Gets a land, mills a ton of planeswalkers. All right, there's the Sacred Foundry. So Sacred Foundry untapped. Fighter class. Get the hammer. And yeah, I guess we just pass. Yeah, pass the turn. Next turn's the turn. Next turn's the turn. Is it in time? Double Resolute Strike is sweet because it means we have lots of flexibility for moving around the hammer. Nissa, 1 card in hand. Double the mana again. Untaps the land. What's that last card? Are we attacking? Oh, okay. Well, we will block with Hollowblade. Discard a Danto Vanguard. Kill it. Opponent passes. Well, Battlefield Forge. Play Colossus Hammer. Go to combat. Everything at your face. Opponent needs instant speed. Artifact destruction, I guess? Okay, Lair of the Hydra. That's not going to do it, though. That's not going to do it. Opponent, I think we got him. I think we got him. Blocks. Blocks. Now we will Resolute Strike. Put the hammer on it. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Ah, opponent's not happy. Opponent's not happy. We got the bra. Pioneer Hammer Time actually working. Okay, that was impressive. And it was less impressive than it could have been because we were stuck on mana for a couple turns, but it worked. Stop. It's Hammer Time. Much ado about nothing time. We are pioneering this week with one of my all-time favorite decks. Of course, we're playing Pioneer Hammer Time, which is kind of Hammer Time with a bunch of extra steps. Actually, the plan is the same, but a lot of the pieces that you're used to in Modern just don't exist in Pioneer. So we got to do some extra work. We're like fighter classing to try to tutor up our hammers. This hand actually seems pretty good, though. Turn 1 door, turn 1 Sigarda's Aid. Actually, we should probably go turn 1 1-drop, turn 2 fighter class, turn 3 Sigarda's Aid hammer, or as for our opponent, and Llanowar Elves. So I think we just start with the Fireblade Charger, Sacred Foundry, untapped, and Fireblade Charger. Go. So next turn, fighter class can get us our hammer, and then turn 3, we can attach it. We could also just top deck the hammer. That would be spectacular. Temple Guard. Oh, is this Winota? Okay. Looks like Winota. Well, we'll see if we're alive come next turn. Please attack us. We might just be dead with our opponent being on the play here. Another innkeeper. Well, we gotta hope they don't have Winota, because we definitely can't kill Winota at the moment. Opponent. My god. They're still going. All right. If this ends with our opponent, well, they do need red mana, don't they? They don't actually have Winota mana. That's good news. All right, all right, all right. Fervent Champion. I'll play Battlefield Forge, and we will snag a hammer with Fighter class. What we really want is hammer and Shadow Sphere. That would be pretty good. But we're definitely taking the hammer for now. Pass the turn. Yeah, we'll get it and hit you. I mean, if our opponent blocks, we get to kill an elf, which is great. Next turn's a turn. We'll see if it's enough. Opponent untaps 2 cards in hand now. There's the red mana. All right, it's tapped. Well, that's good. Gets in, mostly hits us. Well, come on, Shadow Sphere. That's the last piece of this puzzle, I think. And dodging Winota, of course. Passes. Well, Battlefield Forge. Sigarda's Aid. Play Fervent Champion. Go to combat. Do some attacking. And then we can put the hammer on whatever is unblocked. Well, given the choice, I guess we hammer on the Charger. Yes, please. Hit ya. Hit ya for 12. It's hammer time. Is it going to be enough? If our opponent plays a Winota here, we're still probably just dead. Opponent, yeah, untaps. No Winota, no Winota, no Winota. These Winota matchups always feel like this. It's always just like, ooh, do they top deck Winota? Temple Garden. All right, no Winota yet. Opponent getting in. I mean, they have to start blocking or they die. Wow, Shadow Sphere would be the best. Trampling up this hammer creature would be so good. Well, another hammer is also pretty good. Play Season Hollowblade. I mean, I think we win. I would be surprised if they block the Fervent Champion, especially since we had to tutor up the hammer. They're probably not expecting the second one. So hopefully we just get them. And if they do double block, then good. Oh, they do. All right, opponent. Playing it careful. Sure. So opponent loses both, stays alive. No Winota. No Winota. No Winota. You know our opponent's just trying to stay alive to draw Winota. That's their pathway to maybe get back in the game. Wow, another land, okay. Oh, Blade Historian, that's fine. Wrong 4-drop. We will accept the Blade Historian. That does essentially nothing. I mean, I guess it's another blocker? Wow, they're getting in there. Okay. Block an Innkeeper, discard a Adanto Vanguard. Yeah, now we definitely have lethal. Opponent's out of cards. We are not dead. And we got another hammer. That's exactly what we want. Ooh, it's hammer time. All right, opponent. Oh, it'd be so sweet if this deck worked in Pioneer. Opponent passes. Another Sigarda's Aid. Go to combat. So you know they got to block the hammer creature. The problem for our opponent is there's another hammer. The hammer is about to drop. Opponent, would you like to block? It's a very aggressive attack because it forces them to block with Blade Historian. Doesn't really matter either way though because it's hammer time. Yes, we will put that on a Fervent Champion and it always feels good to beat Winota. This is like the heart attack matchup because it's just so one top deck away from our opponent going off the entire game. Like they had all the mana, they just didn't draw the Winota to go with it. And you know if they do it any turn, you're in trouble. How can we stop a Winota? Oh god. Oh, that's actually hilarious. We have a place at a Containment Priest. Okay, now we kind of want them to draw Winota because it'll be hilarious. I kind of want another Shadow Sphere. They have a lot of blockers. Let's bring in the Shadow Sphere. We can go down a Lion Sash. We can go down Alpine Moon, no. We might trim God's Willing. The Winota deck doesn't have that much removal. Although I guess this does let us get through blockers. We'll trim a God's Willing. Shadow Sphere lets us get through blockers, and it just does other stuff too. And then it's probably just some like Adanto Vanguard effects. Which one is better? So this is 3 power only when attacking. You got to pay life to make it indestructible. This is always 3 power, but you got to discard a card to make it indestructible. I really want to get Winota with Containment Priest. I don't think I've ever seen that before, and it would be so funny. Just let him attack with everything and flash it in and just get him. You know, we'll go down to Season Hollowblade. And actually, do we even want the Lion Sash? The only reason to keep the Lion Sash is that we can tutor it with Fighter class. And then I guess it grows. You know what? We're just going to cut it, whatever. I mean, I think we're almost always tutoring up Hammer or Shadow Sphere in this matchup. Like, it seems unlikely that we're ever going to spend a tutor on Lion Sash. And if we are, then we already are hammering and gaining life, and it probably doesn't matter. All right. Let's see it, opponent. So opponent's on the play. We mostly want the Containment Priest. I mean, we also will just take the hammer kill. That's also good. Dork Resolution Strike, no hammer. So we're a hammer away from this draw being really good. You know what? We're just gonna mulligan. Ooh, okay. Now we're away to equip hammer away from this hand being good. We'll keep this one. We will put a Sacred Foundry to the bottom. No Containment Priest, though, unfortunately. Opponent, going to 6, presumably trying to find Winota this time. Temple Garden, untapped, and some manas. Yup, opponent passes. More lands. Well, Fervent Champion hits you for 1. Containment Priest. No more lands. Containment Priest. That's what we want. Or just a way to equip the hammer. Either one is acceptable. Opponent down to 17. I mean, they could theoretically have Winota next turn. Land. Brutal. Oh, that is actually kind of brutal. So there goes our Fervent Champion, and we don't really have a way to get rid of this. Our deck does not believe in removal. We just believe in hammers. Oh my god, even more lands. Oh, okay. Actually, you know what? I guess we play the Shadow Sphere. We don't really want this Brutal Cathar to flip yet. Well, feeling less good about where we're at. Lots of lands, not much to go with them. Opponent, Stomping Grounds, tapped. Well, at least we're not dying to Winota yet. Opponent hits us. Down to 17. This is gonna flip. Sure. Season Hollowblade. I mean, I guess we gotta play it, right? This is where Winota can come down and just absolutely destroy us, though. Play the tap lad, pass the turn. Because now our opponent has 2 non-humans since this flipped. It's not a human anymore. That's one of the sneaky Winota synergies. That's what made Winota so good in Pioneer, honestly, was the werewolves. Like that really took the deck from okay to one of the best decks in the format. Land and Winota. All right, no Winota, Prosperous Innkeeper. Unfortunately, if our opponent plays 2 things, they get to flip this Moonrage Brew again. And we don't have removal. We don't really have a way to kill it. So we're just doing not much ever. Skyclave, sure. Wow. All right, they're just killing it all. Sure. Can't attack, flips it around, eats our creature again. Oh my god, that's a lot of creatures beneath the Brutal Cathar. Fireblade Charger. Can you beat it, opponent? Can you beat it? Take that. 1-1. Battlefield Forge. Go. Not looking good. Not looking good for the hammers, opponent. Yeah, I guess they just have a lot of removal after sideboarding, don't they? Skyclaves and Brutal Cathars. So they can win fairly, I guess, even without the Winota. I guess that's another part of the power of the deck. You just get a lot of good cards. And, oh no. Winota. All right, well, we're not even going to wait around to see this. We're just going to call that good enough. Woo! Okay, that one wasn't very close. Well, I will say, I wonder if this deck would like some amount of removal. You don't got to go like super duper heavy, but maybe like a removal spell. That could be worth considering, at least in the sideboard. Even if you don't want the main deck, at least put one in the sideboard. All right, well, this is kind of the nut draw. We'll see if it's nutty enough. I mean, we get to put the hammer on a creature on turn 2. We are on the play. The problem is we saw our opponent having a ton of answers, so they might be able to find their way out of it. So turn 1, Fireblade Charger. Turn 1, Fireblade Charger, go. Opponent. So we know all their removals at 3 mana. Can we kill them before they get to it? The problem is the removal can come down on turn 2 thanks to Infinite Mana Dorks, Temple Garden, and Infinite Mana Dork number 1. Opponent passes. Well, play Battlefield Forge. Play Sigarda's Aid. Go to combat. Attack you. Opponent, would you like to block? Opponent decides no. Well, I mean, we are going to hammer. So we get in the turn 2 hammer hit, but if our opponent can follow this up with a Skyclave or Brutal Cathar, it's not enough. Not enough. Opponent goes to 7, but 7 is very much not dead. Well, let's see if they have it, because we don't really have anything else. This is kind of it. Land and yep. All right. So opponent does have it, of course. Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Well, our deck did what it wants to do, but it's looking like it's not going to be enough here. Another Sigarda's Aid doesn't really do anything. Well, we'll play a Fighter's Class. Tutor up even more hammers. Well, that's a little bit disconcerting if we'd be getting in turn 2 hammer hits on the play and not winning. that is a vote against Pioneer Hammer time, I think. Pathway. Winota. Archon of Emeria. Opponent gets and hits us. Sure. Down to 16. We draw a land that doesn't do anything. Well, I guess we passed the turn. We were so close. Opponent untaps. Forest, sure. And Winota. Oh, jeez, Ezekiel's Chariot. Well, I don't know if we can beat that either. Like, we're just, even without Winota, like, that's just a big board. How do we get through that? I don't think we do. Opponent hits us for a bunch. Oh, and we didn't even get to see the Containment Priest blowout. We're just losing to janky mid-range stuff. There's definitely power to being a Mana Dork deck in Pioneer. That is the first thing I think of. We're dead, right? 4, 5, 6... 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean, I don't think we're literally dead, but actually, yeah, I mean, we're essentially dead. I'll grab a Shadow Sphere. Well, we did our thing. Our thing just wasn't quite good enough against our opponent's thing. So we're not officially dead on board. We're dead to anything, though. Right now we're taking 9, but if our opponent has anything to crew this Chariot with that's not on board, then we are taking lethal. Land. Ranger class, that counts as anything, and dead. Oh, that was a disappointing one, just because we did do our thing. Like, not doing our thing's one thing. When you just don't do your thing and fizzle, that's gonna happen. But doing your thing and getting in the turn 2 hammer attack and not winning, that makes me a little bit worried. About Pioneer Hammer time, but we'll see. We'll keep going. Much Abrew about nothing time. It is hammer time, but hammer time with a twist. We are hammering in Pioneer. Do we keep this? So we got the Cigar Aid. This can get a hammer. All we really need is a creature. You know what? I think we do keep it, strangely. This hand's pretty interesting. We have the Cigar Aid. Fighter class gets us the hammer. So all we really need is a creature to go on it. It'll be hammer time. I guess we can hammer on a Mutavault, but that's pretty bad. Hammering on a Mutavault kind of is a bummer because it's going to fall off end of turn anyway. What happens if we level this up? Level up, equip cost 2 less to cast, last level. When a creature attacks up to 1 target creature blocks, there we go. We found our removal. We found it. Dreadwander. Spicy. All right, so that's more ways to equip a hammer, but still not a hammer. Fighter class, or still not a creature to wear the hammer. I mean, we're definitely taking the hammer. Pass the turn. Well, come on, creatures. That's what we want. That's what we need. Bonnet gonna get in and hit us. Sure. Down to 18. And Castle Lockwain. So it looks like zombie tribal. Zombie. All right, just mono black aggro. Creature. God's willing. Okay. Wow, so we have like everything except a creature. We got protection. We got the hammer. I mean, I guess there's a world where we draw enough hammers that we could win with the Mutavault. We do need to draw stuff somewhat soon, though, or we're just going to get mono blacked here. We're down to 13. Doing nothing is painful. Okay, well, all right. Things getting worse. Opponent draws the Thoughtseize, can take our hammer. Well, and now we got nothing going. Well, it takes the God Willing. So they have removal to kill the creature if we do draw it. Okay, Sacred Foundry. Tapped. Yeah, I think we're just fizzling. So Mutavault could hit for not enough. Opponent, land. So if we draw land, let's say, Mutavault, hammer, Resolute Strike, 16. That's still not enough. Yeah, I think we're just dead. We're just couldn't find the missing piece of the puzzle. Opponent, Knight of the Even Legion. Yeah. Oh no. Adano Vanguard, but it's way too late. Yeah. Well, I thought we had a good hand because we had everything except a creature, but we didn't find a creature for 5 turns, so less good than I thought. I really don't know about the sideboard. I really don't. I like this deck, and I think that it's on the right track. for being a Hammer Time deck in Pioneer. So I really like that aspect of it. On the other hand, having no removal, pure, like I'm fighter class fully leveled up, I guess sort of mimics removal, but really not having any removal in the 75 is so weird to me. So weird. I would love to be able to just kill like a mono black aggro threat, but I don't know. That's something I'm thinking about, is it might be necessary to have some removal somewhere. Or maybe like we just combo fast enough and it's fine. We'll see. All right. Well, this hand, no hammer. But we have, assuming we dodge the Thoughtseize, we have a threat that's not going to be super easy for our opponent to kill, and a Shadow Sphere, which I think is just impossible for our opponent to kill. So that's our game plan. Like, Shadow Sphere on a Danto Vanguard's pretty decent. We'll see. That does mean us dodging Thoughtseize. All right, Dreadwander. Sure. Tap 2-1. Yep. Acid. Well, Inspiring Vantage. A Danto Vanguard. You. Well, next turn we can theoretically get the Shadow Sphere on it. Something for our opponent. Combat. I mean, I think we just kill this. I think this is worth paying 4 life. They can get it back eventually, but that's a long ways in the future. I think that's worth paying 8 life. I think that's worth paying 12 life. Oh no. Well, we're committed at this point. We're committed. And we can gain, so we kill that, and we can start gaining some of our life back with the Shadow Sphere, which helps. That's part of the reason I felt a little comfortable with that, is we could just get to start gaining back for a turn. Wow. All right, opponent. I can't believe we triple activated an Auto Vanguard on turn 2. Opponent Thoughtseizes us. I mean, if we draw a hammer, we win. A little worried about Rankle. Rankle could come down and maybe make us sacrifice the Adanto Vanguard, but our opponent doesn't have a creature to go with it at the moment. But yeah, an Edict effect would be annoying here just because we don't have another creature to sack. Opponent takes Nahiri. Bloodsoak Champion. Well, I mean, that is a creature our opponent can sack. Oh, so close. Fighter class. Grab the hammer. So we have like definite lethal next turn if our opponent does not go land rankle, make you sack. If they go land rankle, make a sack, then all of a sudden we got nothing. We are back up to 16. Opponent. No edicts. No rankles. And are paying 12 life on turn. An opponent does not have it, okay. Oh, paying 12 life on turn 2 paid off. If only we were a Death Shadow deck. Where's our Death Shadow in Pioneer? I guess it's Shadow Mortality. Oh, card's so bad. All right, what are we doing? Running it back? I almost want the 3rd Shadow Sphere. The life gain just seems so good. It does mean we're gonna end up legend ruling ourselves, which is awkward, but I guess we can discard it to Season Hollow Blade. We're gonna be on the draw as well. Lion Sash actually seems pretty good in this matchup, just because they have all that graveyard recursion, random recursion 1-drops. It might just be another Nahiri. Nahiri feels a little slow in this matchup. Yeah, let's try it like that. No Nahiri. We could be a Lurus deck if Lurus was legal without the Nahiri. That Adanto Vanguard. So good. All right, opponent's on the play, which is a little bit frightening. 0 lands. I do not think we can keep this 0 lander. Triple Fervent Champion would be sweet, but not good enough. All right, well, I mean, I guess this we keep. Yeah, let's put the God's Willing to the bottom for now. I mean, we're a land away from fighter classing something. We got the Danto Vanguard, which was good last game. Opponent, Bloodsoaked Champion. Well, play the land, and yeah, run out Fireblade Charger. I wonder if Mutavault's worth it in this deck. We've had a couple of times where we've wanted to cast fighter class, and the Mutavault has kept us from casting it. Okay. Sure. Opponent passes. Colored mana. All right, Sacred Foundry, untapped. Yeah, let's just play a Danto Vanguard. Ship the turn. Opponent untaps. Hive the Eye Tyrant. And Edict. Ouch. Okay. That's a bummer. I'll play the Mutavault. Lion Sash. Eat the Bloodsoak Champion. Pass the turn. Knight of the Ebon Legion. And even more removal. All right, so opponents had a lot of removal. So much removal. Well, we will play Lion Sash. play Sigarda's Aid. Pass the turn. Opponent's down to 2 cards. Hopefully that means they're running out of removal. Us is close, super close. We'd love to draw a hammer. Oh, well now we need to draw a hammer. Yeah, now it's shifted from want to need because now we can't tutor up with fighter class. Wow, okay. So I guess our opponent just has another removal spell. Gets in for 1, we will take it. Down to 15. And Scrap Heap Scrounger. I mean, I think we just smack them, right? We have to. Fighter class. This isn't lethal, but it is a huge attack. Colossus Hammer. Hammer you. Okay, so we hit him for 11. Opponent. All right, down to 7. Please, please, no more removal. No more removal. Opponent taps. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay. Whoo! Opponent's hit all the sideboard. Oh, so opponent is finally out of cards. What this means is we need to top deck a hammer. If we top deck the hammer, we steal the win with this Fervent Champion. Otherwise, I think we're dying. Wow. Opponent had 4 removal spells. Grows the Knight. Hammer, hammer, hammer. Mutavault. Well, we will play Fervent Champion. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, fire up the Mutavault. Hit you down to 4. Hit you down to 3. Thanks to the pumping Mutavault. All right, kill us if you can. It looks like our opponent's 1 point of damage short of killing us. Opponent Scrap Heaps us. They still need something else though. Just to land, so they can fire up Hive of the Eye Tyrant. Sigarda's Aid. That doesn't help. Is there a way we can get out of this? The problem is now we're to the dead on board stage. So if we attack with everything, our opponent blocks, we lose both Mutavaults, we get in for 1. Wow, this ended up being a ridiculously close game. But I think we're gonna end up losing it just barely. Wow, opponent had so much removal too. They brought in multiple edicts. Opponent has 4 removal spells and just barely. I think it's gonna be enough for them to pull it out just by the tiniest amount. Yeah, Sigarda's Aid was not the draw we wanted here. Literally the worst draw in our deck, I think. A land would have been better at this point. Anything that actually does sort of something. Oh, such a close game. Ridiculously close game. Hive the Eye Tyrant. So I assume they attack, and leave back the Knight. So what ways do we have that we can win? We gotta block something or we die. So this can pump a Mutavault to lethal. This is another case where a removal spell would be incredibly helpful. So I think we block with Mutavault. On the Scrounger. So I think this means if we just draw Hammer, we do have lethal. All right, kill the Scrounger. We drop to 3 to 3. Who can get in the last 3 point? I think we just need a Hammer off the top. That's the draw we need. Another Fervent Champion, I think, does it. Yeah, another Fervent Champion would do it. Those are our outs. Come on, deck. Shadow Sphere. That actually might do it. So Mutavault. Go to combat. Attack. So opponent has to block here, right? So we get in a free point of damage. Do we need this on defense? Probably not. All right, attack. So opponent has to block the Mutavault, but we get to flash in the Shadow Sphere to pump the Mutavault. Wow, I'm glad we brought in those extra Shadow Spheres. It might save us here, because then our opponent's gonna lose the Knight of the Ebon Legion. And then our opponent's got nothing at the moment. Opponent blocks. Flash in the Shadow Sphere, put it on the Mutavault. Kill it, hit ya to 1. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Are we gonna sneak this out? Just barely? Opponent needs 2 answers. Oh my god, we get the good games. Oh my goodness. Wow, that was such a ridiculously close game. Wow. We stopped him. Hammer time. Sweet. Much brew about nothing time. We are hammering in Pioneer of all places. Pioneer hammer time. And first hand had nothing. This hand has nothing land-wise. So I guess we're going to 5. This is actually kind of a good 5. Lion Sash to the bottom. Probably Vanguard. I think we're all in on this Fireblade Charger. There's a world where we just draw land and have turn 2 hammer with God's Willing for turn 3. Overgrown Tomb, untapped, and Gilded Goose Honk Honk. Well, Mutavault. So we got to go for it. Sigarda's Aid. Go attacking. All right, this is pretty big. Because what this means is, even if our opponent has Fatal Push, they die. That is the upside of Fireblade Charger. When it dies, it deals damage equal to its power. So this is a way that we can win through removal. That is Multi-5 turn 3 kill in Pioneer? Is Hammer Time just broken everywhere? No matter how janky and removal lacking and Stoneforge Mystic less your build is. Maybe just putting hammer on things is just always broken. It's starting to seem that way. It's starting to seem that way about it. Cauldron Familiar and Witch's Oven. That's actually ideal because now we can God's Willing for lethal. God's Willing? Pro black? Turn 3 on the Multi-5 through the blockers. Done. So good. So good. Maybe this deck actually is kind of good. All right. And then, oh my goodness, do we have we might not believe in removal, but we do have some answers to our opponent's deck. We get Rest in Peace. Is Containment Priest worth it? I mean, Rest in Peace is definitely worth it. So I think our opponent's probably like Jund Sacrifice. Cauldron Familiar is the only thing. Yeah, I think we just bring in the Rest in Pieces. I don't think we're going to bring in Containment Priest. There might be an argument to another God's Willing. What do we cut? That's a real question. Lion Sash is good. Stuff that doesn't die to removal is good. Maybe we can't bring in another God's Willing. We haven't seen Nahiri do much. Nahiri's just kind of slow for this deck, I think. But it is another way to free equip, so I still like it as a backup plan, but how are we finding room for these Rest in Pieces? Maybe we go to like one Adonto Vanguard, one Fireblade Charger. Run it like that. Well, let's see if we can do that one more time. That was our fastest kill yet. I mean, we're going to keep this. Hollow Blade, Fighter Class, can find the hammer. Seems reasonable. We're going to keep. Please don't Thoughtseize us into oblivion, but it seems fine. I think this could work. All right, Potic, go to 6. Overgrown Tomb, untapped, and Honk Honk, Gilded Goose. More God's Willings. I do like the protection. That is nice. And we'll just play this on white past the turn. Blooming Marsh, and passes. Wow, there's a Sigarda's Aid. Interesting. Pathway on red. Season Hollow Blade. Go. Opponent, gonna food it up. Sure. All right, what do you got, opponent? So we can't hammer yet, unless we just top deck it. Trail of Crumbs. All right, so opponent's gonna get to start drawing cards. We just gotta kill our opponent real quick. Like, their late game engine is going to beat us. Well, Battlefield Forge, go to combat, attack. Opponent takes it. I'll play Fighter Class, get a hammer. Grab the hammer. And let's play Sigarda's Aid. Pass the turn. Well, we'll see. I mean, we're potentially presenting lethal next turn. Meat Hook Massacre would get us pretty good. As would, like, sacrifice-based removal. All right, opponent draws a land. It is a tap land, though. All right, this is a big turn. Let's see what our opponent can put forth. So this is 13, 15, protection. Maybe. I mean, I guess if our opponent leaves all their mana up, they can sack a food to gain life. Gonna be hard for our opponent to tap out for stuff without dying. I mean, I guess they're in colors that could have hammer removal. Maybe that's their game plan, is rather than trying to kill the creature, which is gonna be tough, they try to kill the hammer with like Assassin's Trophy or something. Seems like a possibility. Now we'll see what our opponent decides. I mean, I think because we tutored up the hammer, they know they're in a potentially dead spot. So opponent's got to think this through, because they know there's a chance that they could just get one shot. Plays a land. Or vault. Wait, doesn't this mean we win? I think this means we win. Opponent thought they were safe to get down Corvold because we can't deal 15, but we have the Resolution Strike, which means we just kill ya? Okay, well, we will accept that. So we untap. Or we just draw another hammer. Colossus Hammer. Put it on the Hollow Blade. Yes, please. Colossus Hammer number 2. Put it on the Hollow Blade. That's a big one. And then, God's Willing. Pro Black. put it wherever, go to combat. That's a 23-21, and that's a turn 4 kill. That's a turn 4 kill. In Pioneer, with Hammer Time, that's a winning record. It's working. Maybe Pioneer Hammer Time's legit. That's like a real deck too. Junsack is so much better than expected. It looks janky, but fighter class, Pioneer Stoneforge Mystic, kind of good, kind of good. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Going for the 4-1 with Pioneer Hammer Time, and I mean, we're gonna keep this. We got the hammer, we got the Sigarda's Aid. We're a creature away from doing a little bit of hammering, just a bit of hammering. What are you up to, friend? I mean, if we draw a creature, this could just be kind of a nut draw. Inspire Advantage and Sigarda's Aid, go. Snow-covered island. All right, come on, creature. Off the top, right now, hammer 'em. Resolute Strike. All right, well, okay. We can do this the hard way. We can fighter class to get Lion Sash, which is technically a creature. This is not really how we want to be doing this, but the other option, I think we just got to take the creature. The Shadow Sphere would be really helpful, but then we're stuck needing to draw a creature still. We have so many creatures we can draw. How greedy are we? So this is probably mono blue spirits, which means counters and aggro and tapping. You know what? We're going to take the Lion Sash. That's fine. Take the Lion Sash, pass the turn. Like, just getting a creature's big. We got the hammer. We got a way to equip it. Yeah, definitely mono blue spirits. There's the Spectral Sailor. Opponent. Gonna get in with the Spectral Sailor. Sure. This might be a tough matchup because the Spirit deck is pretty good at tapping us down. Well, play the land, play the Lion Sash. Counterspell number 1 of Infinite. I think the way we can beat this deck is just getting stuff down faster. I think that's what we need. Getting stuff on the battlefield quicker, because if we don't, then our opponent just sits back, draws cards, counters. Opponent, snow-covered island. At least we haven't seen a Curious Obsession yet. Also worth mentioning that our deck just doesn't kill things. Very, very bad at killing things. Getting in. This thing's gonna get big. Yeah, I'm kind of nervous. Opponent's leaving up a counter again. I don't know. Not feeling great about where we're at. Opponent passes. Pathway on white. Run out. Attempt to run out Nahiri. Opponent. Yeah, we need to get like a 1-drop on the battlefield or something, I think. I think that's our recipe to success, is getting a creature down early. Thanks. Counters. Yep. Well, we will pass the turn. Another Ascendant Spirit. Opponent goes to combat. Gets in. Hits us. I mean, opponent hasn't been able to draw extra cards yet, so we still have hope. Even though not a great position of just getting everything countered. Fervent Champion. Well, we will play Fervent Champion. It resolves. We will go to combat. We will attack. Opponent. Hammer time. Are they going to counter the hammer? Wow, okay. Petty Thief the Sigarda's Aid, but this is hilariously kind of okay because we have Resolute Strike. So it still kind of works. Resolute Strike. Hammer it. Opponent probably is going to regret not bouncing Fervent. What happened? I'm so confused. Oh, it's not a wart. Oh, why is this in the deck? Oh my God. Okay. Oops. Well, that's okay. That's some good deck building. Oh no! Why is that in this deck? I didn't even think to look, but yeah, this doesn't work with our synergies. Wow, that's a interesting decision. I mean, maybe it's good enough. Well, good to know. I mean, I guess that's definitely just a pun on my part. Wow. Okay, well, take 3. Well, I guess that did matter, and our opponent's Brazen Borrower worked out perfectly. Opponent, Siren Storm Tamer. We draw a Lion Sash. Yeah, we are just dying. Playing a Nahiri. Opponent. Jeez, top decked another counter. This one's pretty over. Well, get in, hit ya. So is there any way this can work? Is there any possible pathway out? Yeah, this Fervent Champion's a lot worse than I thought. I mean, I guess because of its discount, it can naturally equip Colossus Hammer for 5 mana, but that's still not exciting. Opponent gets in for 1 billion. It's us. Gonna lose to Mono Blue. Such an annoying deck. It is a budget deck. Well, there's that good old resolution strike. Yeah, we're just dead now. All right. Well, we learned something about Fervent Champion. A little bit worse in the deck than it looks. Is there not a warrior 1-drop that we can play? Is there not a warrior 1-drop in Pioneer? Oh, there's a million of them. Oh, that's modern. All right, hanging on. Pioneer. Is there not another good warrior 1-drop? Herald of Anafenza, Mardu Woe Reaper, Pit Fighter. There's a million options. Flame Blade. Huh. Oh, and if haste matters, there's even Zergo. So if the argument is we need a hasty one, isn't Zergo better? Okay. Yeah, I think that we don't have any sideboard cards for 1, which is really bad. I mean, I guess we can bring in a couple Shadow Spheres, but go down a Lion Sash, and then probably a God's Willing over a Danto Vanguard, since our opponent doesn't get removal anyway. Let's run it like that. Yeah, I wonder. This has been an interesting learning experience. So I feel like this deck, it's got potential. We've certainly seen the Pioneer Hammer Time potential. On the other hand, I also feel like this is perhaps a very early build of the deck that could use some improvements. Fervent Champion to the bottom. Fireblade Charger to the bottom. I mean, this is kind of the nut draw. We'll see. Opponent just has like stuff that can bounce and whatnot, so it's not a guarantee, but this is a really fast clock. And we're getting it down quick enough that our opponent cannot counter it, I think. I guess I could have Spell Pierce if they're a Spell Piercer out of the sideboard kind of deck. Passing. Well, hopefully they don't have Spell Pierce out of the sideboard, or else we could be in trouble. Passes. Do they have Spell Pierce, or are they bluffing Spell Pierce? Well, we will play the land, play Sigarda's Aid. Go to combat, attack you. I mean, we gotta go for it. We can't not go for it because there's a chance they have Spell Pierce. We can't even play around the Spell Pierce next turn anyway, so we gotta do it. Hammer time. Yes, please. This one is a warrior. Not that it matters at the moment. Opponent goes to 9. All right, opponent needs Brazen Borrower. And Brazen Borrower doesn't actually do it. They have to do it during combat. If they Brazen Borrower during combat, it can buy them a turn. Opponent passes. We draw Fighter class. Well, go to combat. Do they have the Brazen Borrower? Yes. Oh, they have a Trickster. Okay. So Trickster gonna tap it down. Opponent's staying alive. Fighter class. Probably another hammer, honestly. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. There's an argument for getting Shadow Sphere so we can try to trample over, but I feel like I'd rather have 2 hammer creatures if we had the choice. Passes. We draw. God's Willing's nice. Go to combat. Attack you. Opponent blocks with Trickster. So we've sort of built our own abyss, I guess, at this point, where our opponent's gonna have to block this for the rest of the game. We'll see if we can actually, if we ever can get our opponent to tap out, then we can go for the God's Willing. They just have so many counters that firing it off is super risky. But if we can get them to tap down, we should have the win. Opponent passes. Okay, hopefully they're on the Trickster plan. Trickster would mean our opponent's dead. Go to combat. Okay, Trickster. So we just God's Willing. Pro blue. And no free counters in Pioneer, so we don't got to worry about that. So we should just have it. All right, that's how we can take down mono blue. Now, that was on a molded 5 too. The 5, this is a deck where the 5 right cards, definitely better than 7 not right cards. All right, it all comes down to this. Can we get the 4-1 on the draw against mono blue super annoying as Spirits? Although I will say, mono blue Spirits is one of the legitimate best budget decks in the Pioneer format. If you're looking for just like the highest tier budget deck, I think that's it, honestly. We're gonna keep this. We don't have the hammer. We have everything else, but we do not currently have the hammer. Siren Storm Tamer passes. Letting 2 Vanguard. Well, we will play this on red. And Fireblade Charger. Threat 1, go. Gets in. Hits us. Down to 19. And passes. Well, Battlefield Forge, go to combat, attack ya, opponent takes it. Well, all right. Season Hollowblade. Are we countering? Hollowblade and Vanguard they're okay, they're attackers, but the blue deck just doesn't really have real removal. It's all bounce and tap, so their abilities not super relevant. Opponent. Wizard's Retort goes to combat, down to 17, and passes. Very, very interesting. Sigarda's Aid. Opponent counters, that's fine. Sacred Foundry, ouch, untapped. Get down to Danto Vanguard. Hit ya. Because we have another way to equip if we can get a hammer down anyway. So the Sigarda's Aid is not actually super important at the moment. Hit ya. And this is hopefully going to help us win the race. We'll see. We could really use a hammer. We could use a hammer. We could use any of our equipment, really. Ooh, opponent, land number 3. And finds a Curious Obsession. All right, so opponent gets to start drawing cards. We'll see if that wins them the game. They're winning the race at the moment, and we just cannot kill this. The opponent gets in, hits us. Sure. Gonna draw some more counters. We drop to 12. Gotta draw something. We gotta draw something. Opponent passes. More Resolute Strikes. The deck, when it runs well, it's insane. When it doesn't run well, it can be a smidge clunky. Like right now, for example. Takes 4. All right, pass the turn. Opponent finds a land. Hits us, draws another card. Yeah, down to 10. Oh, we need a miracle. We need a miracle. Not a literal miracle, but a hammer resolving. That kind of miracle. Opponent. More Siren Storm Tamers. And passes. I'll go to combat. Attack you. Opponent. Going to block a Danto Vanguard. Yeah, let's Resolute Strike. Gotta get some value out of it. Opponent runs out a Merfolk Trickster. Okay. Drops to 13. Well, a Danto Vanguard down to 9. Opponent untaps. Oh, it would be so sweet if we could draw a hammer and steal this win. I don't know if it's going to happen, but it would be sweet. Even if we draw it, I don't know if we can resolve it. That's a problem. Opponent attacks. We take it. Opponent draws a card. We're getting curiously obsessed right out of this game. Down to 5. So we're dead in 1.5 turns. Maybe next turn. Definitely 2 turns. Opponent. Okay, so definitely next turn. Opponent passes. Hammer? God's willing. 3-6. Yeah, we're dead. Well, go to combat. Go attacking. Yeah, we never found the hammer. Never found it. And now, I mean, I guess we need our opponent to block with this Ascendant Spirit. If not, they just level it up and have lethal. Block. Would you like to block with your Ascendant Spirit? Well, we're going to have a lot to discuss about this deck. That's for sure in the wrap up. Opponent does block. I mean, we still could be dead. If our opponent has another creature they can flash in, we're still dead. Opponent goes to 10. All right, are we dead? Opponent, Merfolk Trickster. Well, we will God's willing. And they have an Ether Gust. If we God's willing it, we still die. Yeah. Because we'd have to spend life and then we die. All right. So we finished with a 3-2 with Pioneer Hammer time. We got to see the huge highs and the low lows of this deck. This is one of those good news, bad news scenarios, I think. So the good news is, I mean, we finished with a 3-2 and we got to do some crazy things. And we get to open a treasure chest, which we're about to do right now, and gives us we got some play points. Cloud Treasure Sliver is one of the best slivers, but not super helpful here. So what is the breakdown of this deck? So what are the thoughts? So we finished 3-2. Which is a pretty fine record. We got to see some really nice turn 3, turn 4 kills, which is solid. On the other hand, I think this is definitely a deck that can still be improved. I think the core of the deck, the warriors, the hammers, the fighter class is our Stoneforge Mystic. That's really solid. The protection creatures, they had some bad matchups like we saw against Mono Blue, but in general, they're really good. So I think the core of the deck is good. I think the protection's good. The God's Willing is certainly helpful for getting through blockers. We saw that really good against Monograde. However, a couple of pieces of feedback for the deck. One is, I'm not sure about these Battlefield Forges. Actually, several pieces of feedback. Not sure about these Battlefield Forges. They ended up being painful. Also not sold on the Mutavaults. I guess they're nice to help us get through sweepers, essentially, against control. But we do have a lot of protection from sweepers, and we could play a colored creature land. I think I'd rather have a Den of the Bugbear or something like that, because we did run into a couple of times where our opening start was dual land Mutavault and we couldn't fighter class on time to get our hammer. So not 100% sold on the Mutavaults. Battlefield Forge could probably play some basics. The life actually adds up in some matchups, and it is a pretty aggressive format. We didn't run into mono red, but even against spirits, like that last turn, we couldn't really tap our Battlefield Forge for a colored mana, or we were going so low on life we would have died. So those are a couple pieces of the feedback. The other thing, the biggest thing that stood out to me is, where's the removal? And I'm not saying we gotta overload the main deck on removal. It might even be correct to have 0 removal spells in the main deck, but some removal somewhere in the 75, probably going to be worth it. A playset is something. I don't care. Probably March Otherworldly Light is the best one, but some sort of removal spell just to deal with a blocker or get an attacker out of the way that's going to be killing us. So having literally 0 removal, I guess if you want to really squint, like Nahiri, I guess can kind of be removal. Fighter class can like really sort of for 1,000,000 mana be removal, but really we don't have removal. So I feel like some amount of removal is going to be helpful. If you look at our sideboard, we essentially have aggro hate, combo hate, combo hate. I guess this is mostly Winota hate, or maybe Reanimator hate if you run into like Velomachus. And then you have more graveyard hate. So I'm wondering if we could do a little bit of trimming and find room for a place at a removal spells. Like maybe we cut a Shadow Sphere. It's hard to go 3 Shadow Spheres anyway. Maybe we cut a Shadow Sphere. Maybe we cut like 1 Deafening Silence. Maybe we go on the God's Willing and just find room for a place at a March or Otherworldly Light. We could also squeeze them into the main deck. Honestly, not sold on Nahiri being necessary. We sideboarded out a lot. It's 4 mana. We're only a 20 land deck. So maybe we could just cut the Nahiris and replace the Nahiris with like 2 main deck removal spells and squeeze 2 more on the sideboard. And I think that would go a really long way towards shoring up some of the deck's weaknesses. Because as we saw in that last match against Spirits, they stick a Curious Obsession on their 1-drop. And we're just like, well, I guess this is happening forever because we just don't have the ability to stop it. So I think the deck's sweet. I think Pioneer Hammer Time definitely has potential, but this feels like an early build that could still use some tuning around the edges. So if you got some ideas on how to make Pioneer Hammer Time even better, definitely let me know in the comments, because it's one of my all-time favorite archetypes, and I would love to see it take off in Pioneer like it has in Modern. So anyway, that's Pioneer Hammer Time. That's been our Much Brew for this week. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you next week for some sweet Streets of New Capenna action. So until then, have a good one, and I will talk to you soon.